Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the LA Chargers and going over whether or not I think they're a contender or a pretender. But before we get into that topic, just a quick question for those of you viewing. Who do you think is the best current player on the Los Angeles Chargers? Not who do you think will end up being the best player, who do you think is the today best player on that roster? You got it being Herbert, Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Derwin James returning, whoever you got it to be. Comment down below and I'll give my answer at the end. But getting straight into it, just to make it clear, contender means Super Bowl. Can they be a Super Bowl contender? Not get into the playoffs, not get one playoff game, not get one playoff win, actually go all the way through the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. Can they do so in pretender? Obviously means they don't meet that criteria. But looking at the Chargers overall, they got some talent. Justin Herbert going into year 2, lots of big expectations. A lot of pressures on his shoulders, not in the sense of like, oh, he might not be the guy, but in the sense, can he rematch and duplicate what he did last year? I think he will do so, but there's still pressure behind that. Backfield's looking decent with Austin Eckler coming back. Still have my worries about him being a pure running back and power back. We know he's not the biggest guy that could push the pile, but on the receiving end, in the Joe Lombardi offense, with a Alvin Kamara type of receiving back, I think he'll do just fine. Receiving core looking pretty good. Keenan Allen. We're hoping to see more out of Mike Williams, Josh Palmer. Hopefully he can be not necessarily his next best thing, but be a decent steal in the 3rd round. Jared Cook. Hopefully that's a good pickup. Rashawn Slater on the offensive line. You got Brian Beluga at right tackle. Odea Bushi. You have Matt Filer. You have Corey Linsley. O-line is looking pretty good. It's going to take some chemistry. It's going to take some time to gel, but I do think in time it's going to be pretty good. I do think week 1, they might get whooped. I'm not going to lie. Week 1 against Washington, against the best front 4 in the NFL, you might get whooped. But even if the Chargers somehow lose that game, but they put up a fight against that front 4, to me, that's a win. I understand in the record books it's not, but if for a week 1 completely brand new offensive line can put up a fight against the literal best pass rush in the NFL, that's a win, at least in my book, because moving forward off of week 1, just in time when we get chemistry, get experience, we could have a truly top offensive line in the league. Not saying the best, but one of the top ones for sure, if they can handle the Washington football team week 1. But that's for another video to talk about. Looking at the defense, pass rush, we got the bread and butter Batman and Joey Bosa, but he needs a Robin to take the pressure off him. Is it going to be Jerry Tillery? Is it going to be Kenneth Murray? Is it going to be Chris Rumph? Is it going to be Uchenna Nwosu? Who's it going to be? We need to know, and Joey Bosa needs to know, because that could be a concern in the future, or just not a huge concern, but a hole that needs to be filled in the future. Secondary, I'm curious to see who's going to be this number 1 corner. I know in Brandon Staley's defense, there's no corner safety. There's just defensive backs, whatever. But still, you guys know what I mean. Who's going to be the number 1 corner? I don't know who's going to be. Chris Harris Jr., he's more of a slot receiver, and he's getting up there in age. Michael Davis, as much as I like him, he's a number 2 corner. That's just what he is. It's not a knock to him, but that's just what he is, and he's a good number 2 corner. And then Asante Samuel Jr., I like him, but he's going to be a rookie. So all 3 guys, they have potential, but also have a knock, whether it be number 2, just being a number 2, age, or not having experience. I don't know. But in a Brandon Staley defense, maybe they'll figure it out. Derwin James coming back, that's obviously going to be the biggest thing, in my opinion. He could be the number 1 corner because of the Brandon Staley defense. There is no safeties, but still, we'll see. Nasir Adderley, hopefully he takes the next step up. We'll see. Overall, Chargers are very well-rounded, in my opinion. But as far as the question, or as far as the video goes, contender or pretender, I'm like 51% contender, 49% pretender for a couple reasons. Contender, I do think if I was forced to pick a AFC dark horse team, it would be the Chargers. There's just 5 powerhouses in the AFC, in my opinion, that are just, they're at the top of the line. You got the Chiefs, because of Mahomes, we know. The Bills, we know. The Browns, one of the best rosters. Lamar, how electric is. And then Titans. Again, Chiefs, Bills, Browns, Ravens, Titans in no order. If you predict any of those 5 to win a Super Bowl or win the AFC, no one's going to be surprised in the slightest. But outside of those 5, anyone is a bold prediction or dark horse. And therefore, that them being a dark horse team and being outside of that top 5 leans me 51% to Contenders. Because do I think they're on the same level as them and can match them? No. But if I was forced to pick a dark horse AFC team to win the Super Bowl, that would be my pick, and therefore they contend in some aspect. And Pretenders, I'm 49% Pretenders. I'm torn because I just think the Chargers are a year away. As much as what I've liked this offseason, I think they could use one more offseason for a couple reasons. They just need chemistry. This offensive line, it's going to need time. You're going to find out, do we need to replace a guard? Do we need to replace Brian Bulaga? Do we need to replace Ode Abushi? Does anyone need to be replaced for the next draft or next offseason? Is Brandon Staley the guy? As much as I think he will be and want him to be, it's a question mark, so I do think they're just possibly 1 year away. Joey Bosa, if he doesn't find his Robin in Nwosu or Tillery or Kenneth Murray, you need to find him someone. If Asante Samuel Jr. is limited physically and can't be the number one corner, you need to find someone. And therefore, I'm not saying they're not ready this year, but I just think they're one more offseason away from being this serious contender to where they're on par with those 5 teams. I think a lot of people would agree those 5 teams are probably just an edge above the Chargers. But I have to say contender just for this fact that if I was forced to pick a dark horse Super Bowl team in the AFC, you can't pick any of those 5s because neither of them are dark horses. You can't tell me any of them are a surprise dark horse pick. My dark horse pick would be the Chargers. I think they're above the Dolphins. I don't know who else you want to throw in there. Steelers, maybe. Bengals, maybe. Patriots, maybe. I just don't. Colts, that would probably be a good one. I actually didn't think about that. Colts and Chargers would be neck and neck for me, but either way, dark horse Super Bowl team, I would feel comfortable picking for the Chargers because they're not a safe bet, they're not a for sure bet, they're a dark horse bold bet, and that being my pick for dark horse team has to make me say contender by 51% on contention and 49% pretender. So I know that's not, the easiest answer to really understand, or I didn't make it very clear of who they are, contender or pretender, but I just think they're so close to being competitive this year, but being 1 year away, but with the AFC being so stacked, I got to pick someone to be my dark horse team, and that would be the Chargers. So I am torn on this one. Other videos I was a little more clear and simplified on what my pick would be on contender or pretender, but the Chargers are a tricky one for me, at least this season, just because they have so many question marks. Justin Herbert's year 2. Health is always a concern for the Chargers. New head coach is a concern for the Chargers. Brand new offensive line is a concern for the Chargers. There's so many things that could go right or wrong. It's tricky for me to just pick one side. This is a team that kind of just goes split down the middle of either way. Something can go. But you guys tell me, what do you pick? Do you agree or disagree with my take? Do you think it's kind of a tricky one, or do you think they're full-on contenders to win the Super Bowl? Or do you think they're full-on pretenders? Chargers are getting a top 10 draft pick. You tell me what you guys think. I'm kind of torn in the middle, and I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but it's just really tricky for me for the Chargers. I just think there's a lot of question marks to say Super Bowl in year 2 for Herbert. I do think one more offseason, we could be talking about this Chargers team going all the way, taking down the Chiefs in the AFC West. But until that happens now, it's a tricky situation. Do want to hear from you guys. Like I said, though, comment down below your opinions. And as far as the question of the day goes, who's the best Charger today? Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Derwin James. Those are the 4 it comes down to me. I don't think anyone's going to pick Mike Williams off over Keenan Allen or Chen Nwosu or Joey Bosa or Asante Samuel Jr. or Derwin James. It's got to be those 4. Today, I would have to say Joey Bosa. He's the highest paid pass rusher in the league for a reason. I think Herbert could surpass him this year. Derwin James could surpass him, but Herbert only seeing a small sample size of him. Derwin James being off of 2 years of back-to-back injuries. And Keenan Allen, as much as I like him, Joey Bosa is a top 5 pass rusher. Keenan Allen's a top 10 receiver, and therefore I got to go with Bosa being the best player on the Chargers, but no knock to any of the other 3. They're all phenomenal. It's just me. Bosa's the best one today. As always, and of course, guys, I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. 2 minute warning.